Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is July 15th. Another property management update for you here. The past few weeks we've been really busy around here. We were getting the gardens in there for a while. They're exploding. They're doing really well. We've been picking blackberries just as hard as we can go. This morning I picked my 40th gallon of blackberries on the farm. That's unbelievable. Anyway, out here today, I'm sticking up some trail cameras. I've got one feeder out. I'm gonna go check that camera, explain a little bit about that. I'm heading down through my pines right now. I've got a mineral site down here. I'm gonna put a camera down here, check that mineral, see how things are going, and then I've got a couple other places I'm gonna go. I'm on my lunch break right now. Don't know that I'm gonna have time to check or put cameras out in the 3 or 4 places that I want to right now. I may have to get to some this evening, but let's go traipse through the pines here. This is thick, overgrown pine stand here. I just right down here about 40 yards is where I shot my buck at last year. I've got a video of that here on YouTube, and I'm gonna just cut my way down. There's a trail an old cattle trail that runs through the pines down here. I got to take my machete that's sitting here beside me. I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna cut that trail out. The deer use that trail, but I also use that trail myself as my main travel corridor to get through the pines from the top of the hillside down to the bottom. Sun just went behind a cloud and it totally changed all my lighting here. Oh well. Anyway, let's get down here, check these places out, and I got something else to show you when we get to the bottom down here that's going to be a unique twist to my property management strategy for this year. So come along, let's go. Always watching out for copperheads and stuff like that. We have not seen copperheads on this farm in many years. Well, that must be an owl or something down there. I'm not sure. Anyway, haven't seen copperheads here in many years. But sure enough, as soon as I say that here on camera, I'll probably stumble on one. Got my camera up here overlooking my mineral site. This is a mineral site that I've used for 3 years now. It's down here in the middle of these pines. There's a little stand of hardwoods right here in the middle, and this is a pretty steep hillside, and these pines are on this hillside. And there's really 3 distinct trails that cross through here, side hilling out through these pines. I got one up here behind me in the very top edge of the pines. I've got one right here that I'm sitting on in front of me, and that's where I've got my mineral site on. They've dug out probably, oh geez, I bet that hole is probably 2 feet diameter and maybe a foot deep that they've pawed it out to get the mineral out. Usually it's used by does and fawns. I really don't get many bucks here on camera, especially in the summer. They don't really start showing up till October time frame when they start cruising the doe bedding areas. And then down lower in the pines, there's another trail that parallels this one that side hills out. It's just a lower elevation trail. So I've got this stealth cam. What is this one? That's a G26 NG, I believe it is. I love my stealth cams, especially the G series. I think they're fantastic. They have so much customization ability to them where I can go in and I can change all kinds of features in it, and it just gives me a lot of freedom to play around with those cameras. So I really enjoy those stealth cams. I've got this one set up here over this mineral site, and let's head on down to the lower edge, to the lower field where I've been picking blackberries. And I'm gonna put a camera up down there, at least one, maybe 2, we'll see. Anyway, catch you down there. Okay, so I've made my way down through the pines. I'm down here in the lower field, so spin around here. You'll see back here's the blackberries where I've been picking. Last video had a highlight of talking about how we maintain the rows out through these blackberries and why we do it and all that, so I won't go over that all over again. But down here, just below me, there's an old fence row that comes down the hill right here beside me, and there's an old fence row. There's 2 fences down here in front of me. There's one on the road itself, and then about 10-12 feet this side of that, there's another fence, and that corridor is what we used to use to move the cattle back and forth from this side of the road to the other side of the road. And there's an opening down here where there used to be an old gate, and those deer cross through that gate. When they cross the road to come to this side or go to that side, they go through this gate a lot of times. And I want to put a camera up down here at this gate. I've never had one there, but I can't do it right now. And the reason I can't is the electric company has got a crew out here cleaning out the fence rows. And so my whole front of my property borders the road out here. And for the past 10-12 years, there's been about an 8-foot tall wall of shrub, brush, and undergrowth along that fence row. And so people going down the road couldn't see up into the field to see if the deer were crossing or if I had a food plot or whatever. They couldn't see that. Well, they came through and cleaned it completely out now, and it's down to just bare wire. I mean, they've cleaned the fence row out all the way down to the wire and cleaned it off, pulled all the vines off and everything. So there's an unobstructed view from the road all the way up the hill now. We've had problems with road hunters, poachers, over the past few years. Somebody actually killed one down here this past winter, right in front of my property, and claimed that they had hit it with a car and then got out and finished it off with a pistol and threw it in their trunk of their car and drove off. A dump truck just went by, so it may have been a little loud. So we have that kind of problem here on an annual basis. So I'm worried that with that being cleared out now, that's just going to increase the likelihood of that sort of thing. So I've got to try to figure out a way to mitigate that this year. But I'm going to work my way back through here along the upper trail, going out along the upper edge of this field and go over to another kind of funnel area where the deer come in and out. I'm going to stick this camera up over there. Man, I am dripping wet. I am sweating like a pig out here right now. Anyway, got this tree cleaned out around where I can get this camera put in it. We're facing out over the edge of the blackberry field here. There's a pond right over here. It's a really, really good pond. It has a lot of runoff in it, not spring fed, but it's a deep, relatively clear pond, especially for around here in the summertime to not be spring fed. Open area right here in this field where I bush hogged it all off and kept it clean. Directly out here in front of me, and I'll show you a clip of it, directly here in front of me is where the trails that I've bush hogged through the blackberries all come in together right here. And so these deer are feeding out and the turkeys are walking out these trails right here. They come in, and these deer also will bed right here behind me in this stand of pines right here overlooking this pond. This is the area where I find my biggest concentration of buck sign pre-rut and during the rut. I always find rubs, scrapes, whatnot in here. There's always beds in here. When I bush hogged off these paths through the blackberries, I think I saw about 15 or 16 deer beds in here. So this is a really heavily used area with the water source here, with all this browse in here, and with these travel corridors over through here now that I bush hogged in. I'm expecting to get a lot of activity on this camera, even though there's no bait or mineral or anything in front of it. This is just a natural historical travel corridor, and it's even more so now that I've cut these trails out coming right over here to it. So I'm gonna get this thing programmed, set up, and I'm gonna hoof it back to the top of the hill because it's hot. It's about 90 degrees out here today, really high humidity. There's storms brewing in the area. I can see storm clouds building right there. And I got to hoof it back to the top, cool down, eat lunch, and then get back to work since it is my lunch break right now. And then I'll do the other cameras, depending on weather and everything, maybe this evening. We'll see what works out there. Anyway, all right, well, I just walked through. See, right there's the gate that I was talking about where I want to put a camera in, but I can't do it right now because you see back here behind me, see the fence row's all grown up. That crew, I'm surprised they're not here today. They should have been right here working today from what they've been doing, the schedule they've been keeping. Anyway, this crew's been coming out through here, cleaning out the fence row. So you can see all this stuff right here that's separating me from the road. Well, when I get right up here, you'll see what they've been doing. So get right in here now. So transition area, you got all that thick undergrowth between me and the road, and then bam, right here. You can see where they stopped yesterday, all the way up through there. So they're completely cleaning the fence row out along the road underneath the power lines right here overhead. They're supposed to keep 8 feet at either side of the center line of the power lines cleaned out. But because of that 8 to 10 foot wall of undergrowth right there was always shielding this hillside and then my big hillside back up here from the road. And the deer and turkeys would use in here, and people on the road couldn't see it. Well, now it's wide open for everyone to see. So I've got to decide if I'm going to try to put a row of plant some stuff in here as a screen cover out from underneath the power lines so they don't come through and cut it all down again, or what I'm going to do. But I've got to come up with a plan Anyway, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to walk back to the house up through the field to just see if I see any sign of anything in the field, see if I can see where the deer are crossing the fields up through here. And get up here and get back to it and cool down and see if I can hit it again this afternoon, evening time. Anyway, catch you then. Okay, well, I made it to my other camera over here. It's actually the next day. I got really sidetracked with gardening work yesterday evening. My daughter and I went out and worked in the garden, so that's another one of my Stealth Cam G series. I'm not sure which. That's a brand new camera I just bought recently. It's the latest version of the G. I forget what the model number is. G46 Max Pro, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it's set up over. We got a feeder hanging over there. I've had this feeder here out for probably a month now. I got a lot of does coming into it. Haven't seen any bucks at it yet still. Like, that's kind of typical, as I've said. But I'm also getting a crap ton of raccoon activity on this thing. So I'm going to check that camera here today. And if I'm still getting a whole bunch of raccoon activity, I'm probably just going to stop feeding at it for now, because I don't want to draw every stinking raccoon in the area in over here where I just give them a buffet every single night. But this is set up on a main travel corridor right through here. This is over in my hardwood, so this is the other side of the hill, the ridge that my house is on, where my farm is at, from the other side. So the earlier clips were back over in the pine stand and down below the pine thicket. My dad's texting me, wanting to know if I'm going to go pick blackberries this morning. No. We've picked 40 gallons of blackberries so far. I'm not picking any more blackberries. I'm done. Warning, that's the worst card pull I've had on this camera in the past, well, since I put it up. It's 95% raccoons. So, alright, I'm at the last spot here now. This spot is actually on the very far corner of the property. So, I mean, I'm 15 yards off the property line that way and 30 yards off the property line that way. So I'm in the far corner. The reason I put a camera here is we got, first of all, over here is a pretty good size piece of land on the neighbor that they don't allow any hunting on. And these deer cross right here. This is an old logging road back here behind me. When this was all logged 15, 20 years ago, whenever it was, this was actually one of the main roads in that the loggers used to come in and log a lot of this out with, and it's overgrown a little bit over the years. But I've came out with loppers and I've tried to keep it cleaned off a little bit, whether for me to use as just a walking trail, for me to come in for access to tree stands, whatever. But the deer use it a lot too, so they're using it to cross over to the neighbor's property. Here to this side, there is a large cornfield down here now. They put in a large cornfield over here this year. And historically it's just been pasture field up until this year, really. So I was kind of wondering if maybe there might be deer coming through here and going in and out of that corn. It's sweet corn. It's super sweet corn, peaches and cream kind of stuff. So I don't know that the deer are going to use it so much. I'll probably end up with a lot more raccoons on camera coming in and out of the cornfield there. But we'll see. Historically, the deer have used this trail very heavily. Coyotes will come through following the deer. This has been actually the past 2 years, the buck that I've killed the past 2 years in the rut, basically, or rutting, I've gotten on camera on this exact tree on this road right here. Even though I'm shooting them on the other side of the property, they're coming through right here. So this is a pretty heavy travel corridor, especially for the bucks to use to travel from the neighbor's property through me over onto this other neighbor over here. This is the last one for today. My dad just drove past me, didn't see me over here. He just drove through. He's going to go back there and go pick blackberries, so I'm going to wrap this up and get over there and go talk to him for a little bit, maybe help him pick some berries. Anyway, have yourself a wonderful day. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about trail cams, my hunting, my property management philosophy, how I do all this, whatever, feel free to leave a comment, drop it below. Thanks for watching. Hit that like, subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Have yourself a wonderful day, wonderful week. Stay safe, and God bless.